Now, the National Petroleum Authority has been downplaying the impact of the nationwide strike declared by the Association of LPG Operators. They're insisting it will go ahead with the cylinder recirculation module. When implemented, the cylinder recirculation module will see consumers of LPG visit Vantage Point to exchange their old and empty cylinders for newly filled ones. This comes at the back of the nationwide strike declared by the Association of Ghana Liquefied Gas Station Operators to protest that recirculation module. We'll be checking with correspondents in the regions to assess the impact of this strike and bring you government reaction from the NPA, of course. But first, let's tell you the situation here in Accra, where some stranded consumers at the LPG stations have been sharing their frustrations with us.
Some people buy almost a demonstration. It was as the almost government no more year being Tromontiasi. The car station be in gas.
When your face face our
Mako be 3 times. Mako have my back twice. Mako have almost.
I've been to this filling station twice today. I was told they are on strike. I use the gas for my vehicle. I have no option than to go and park my car. This is really going to affect me and the family, especially today being a Monday.
I can't be because me worry. And then when the Monday I was a wedding, because I be the best at pepper because weekend. That's a status every year. My your product.
Basin be fair, me gas, but 20 pound baby, but me do no.
I came here to fill my tank. I came to meet a lot of people, but they've all left. I'm supposed to deliver some goods, but my vehicle has run out of gas. I've been to 2 different places. The operators left to go and eat. They were even laughing at us. I was conducting transactions with one woman in the afternoon when 2 gentlemen walked in. I thought they were here to either withdraw or make a deposit. Before I could ask them anything, they pulled out a gun and shot my right leg. This is not the first time. I used to sell phones. Robbers attacked my phone shop and took everything away.
All right, we'll be crossing over to other places in this country to get you some updates. Let's start with the Volta region, where Ivy Setoji is standing by. Hello, Ivy. Tell us the situation in the Volta region.
Well, as of now, my checks in Keta, Akachi, Ketu, and then Ketu North and Ketu South, people are stranded, especially the taxi drivers who use the LPG for their taxis. They are saying the government should reconsider the gas cylinder recirculation policy because it's really affecting them. Most of them are not working today because that is what they depend on. And so they are asking government to do something about it and also have a meeting with these people so that they can come back to work, so that they can also buy their gas. And also the domestic users as well. I saw some women who went to the gas filling station to buy but they couldn't get it, and now they have to rely on the charcoal. And so most people are frustrated over this strike.
Over here in Accra, we've had the NPA put in some reaction here and there. Are there any officials in the region that are responding to this?
For now, no official is ready to respond to the situation.
All right, Ivy, thank you very much for that updates there. So, as you know, the situation here in Accra isn't so different from what's happening in the Volta region. Ivy Setoji has just made that clear. Let's go to the northern region where Hashmin Mohammed is standing by. Hello, Hashmin. It appears that we've lost Hashmin, but we'll try and raise Hashmin back on the line. In the meantime, checks in parts of the Ashanti regional town of Kumasi has shown that some gas filling stations have already shut down their outfits, of course, in line with the protest. Prince has been speaking with some operators.
At some of the LPG filling stations across Kumasi, and we've witnessed that the strike is in full force. Now, over here in particular at Bokum, we've realized that some people are trooping one after the other, don't have any idea about the strike this morning. We are told that about 92 gas filling stations are dotted across Ashanti region, and all of them have decided to lay down their tools and strike because of the cylinder recirculation project they wanted to stop. We
used to be from Manipani bit say they were strike started in the day. customers no dodo na ayo majen so ma bu gas mbe so be yo mo ho nchiro mo fi ntina ma free Friday ni ba na ase rushing wo mo a market no kosa ntina wo mo te to mo tine no mo so buy dodo na so no ye wo ha no mbo mbusai.
Since it was announced on Friday, there was panic buying. Many people came here over the weekend to buy. We even had to sell deep into the night in order to serve the many customers that came here. It was mostly the commercial drivers who came to buy. We really made enough money at least to cover for us this week. But we are not happy with the recirculation model to be introduced.
Around 12 o'clock. But none if you cylinders no cars no mum na jumano e ko ma tam no ko ani musa be drivers ndo do na mi say ye ko strike na umunya gas mi fa nya juma nti no bia person filling car say be obutimi adwuma be say.
Since government announced the introduction of the cylinder recirculation project, a lot of people have raised concerns about how it's going to impact on the local businesses and how it is not going to be helpful at all for businesses in the country. And as a result, a lot of associations have decided to ask a lot of questions from the state why he has decided to go on this particular path. There's been a lot of negotiations, a lot of talks behind the scenes to ensure that all parties are okay with this particular introduction.
The mandatory for using cylinder, I mean the domestic one, the maximum years is 10 years. So in case they implement this policy, they will need about 60 million cylinders in Ghana, because we are up to 30 million so far in population. Each person will own 2 cylinders, one at your house and the other at your retail center. It will take 10 years before this cylinder will phase out from the system. By then, what is GCMC doing, producing or manufacturing the cylinders for? They have nothing to do, so they have to. It will be our interest to tell our share customer that in a week time we are coming back. But for now, what we have heard, we are not coming back to the business again.
What have you heard?
The government, through Hassan Tampuli, the chief executive of NPA, has vowed to make sure that we, the retailers, will never come back to the business again. What we are saying, there should be some parity somewhere to correct all the challenges that will arise from the policy. But they are not listening to us. We can't just wait a whole policy like that.
Well, that is Prince Apia speaking to some frustrated consumers and as well as some people who work there. Let's go to the northern region and get the situation there. Hashmin Mohammed is our correspondent there. Hashmin, tell us what the situation is.
Well, the situation is not widespread as compared to what is happening in Accra, because at some places they are selling to customers, and some places at some points too, they are saying that there has been a shortage. They are trying to get the gas supplied to their customers.
What about, are there domestic users who are complaining? I mean, you say it's not as widespread, but are there domestic users, for example, who are complaining? Over here in Accra, most of them particularly affected seem to be drivers who rely on gas.
Well, when I visited, many of them were domestic users. But it appears even when media men visit the place, they stop selling. But as soon as we eat, then they supply the customers. So it's not there at the moment.
That's very interesting. So they're playing a sort of media game, and when they see the media personnel around, they close down. And then, but the information available to you is that when you're away, they get back to selling.
Yeah, well, to the extent that the customers themselves say your presence is preventing them from getting the gas from the suppliers.
Wow.
Then it tells the rumor.
Sounds like a very interesting situation up north there. Hashmin Mohammed with the situation in the northern region. Well, we'll be talking or we'll be hearing from the association itself, and we'll be hearing from the NPA as well, which says that they're going to roll out the program anyway. But let's speak to the minority in Parliament. Alhaji Mutawakilu speaks for the minority on energy. Sir, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you very much.
Well, you've been speaking about this. You think that government's posture has been insensitive to the demands of the LPG operators. Exactly what do you expect government to do now?
You see, when you pass a policy, when there was already an existing policy, in a bid to change, you have to ensure that the concerns of the people operating within that old system are taken on board. Because their operations are not illegal, they are legal. But it's as a result of changes in circumstances. So as a committee, we met NPA on this cylinder recirculation. Then we met the LPG Operators and Marketers Association. It became clear that their concerns were on certain key issues. As a result of a change of policy, there might be some liabilities arising as a result of that. Government should be able to ensure that they don't suffer greatly. One, we know that most of these people have gone to banks to borrow to set up on this, which has been licensed by NPA, certified by NPA. NPA does safety inspections. So if these are legal and you change the policy, and because of the change of policy, you leave them, that means that most of them will not be able to survive. Most of them will not be able to pay their loans. So we urge that they should be able to come to agreement as to the level and the guarantee from government that they won't. And on that basis, we felt that that is okay. But as time goes on, we realize that their concerns were not taken on board in the implementation meeting, because my follow-up indicates that any concerns they raise is not being captured in the minutes. Meanwhile, their names are being attached as being in attendance.
So they attend the meeting, or they are invited to attend the meeting, but their inputs are ignored in the final report of that meeting.
That is it. It's because when you invite me for a meeting and I raise concerns as a stakeholder, and at the end of the day you write a report, my name is attached as being in attendance, but my concerns are not taken on board or captured in the minutes of the report, it indicates that I didn't say anything, and therefore we should go ahead. And that is one of the concerns they raise.
But this is not the first time that this group has actually, the first time they threatened strike. This is not the first time we're seeing them go on this tangent. It appears that they're holding the entire Ghanaian population who rely on gas at ransom.
I don't think so. I think it is the responsibility of the government to ensure that it engages them effectively. It ensure that they engage them effectively.
Okay.
That is what I think. That means the government should make sure that they engage them and ensure that their concerns are taken on board.
Okay. At the meeting, you said that the energy meeting committee had a meeting with the NPA. And I'm sure you must have raised all of these concerns.
That is what, as a committee, we thought should happen. You see, what we engaged them, these issues were raised, and we expect that it should happen. But in the implementation
what did you agree on? What did you agree on as the way forward so that it's a win-win situation? Government gets to address the issues that the LPG operators are raising, and then it can roll out its policy as well.
That is it. Because implementation liability will arise. If they implement this, and most of these LPG stations are wiped out, there's going to be huge debt on these people.
So I'm actually asking about whether or not you agreed on steps going forward at that meeting. Did you?
I can't get you clear on this.
Whether or not at the meeting, the committee meeting that you had was able to address this issue and was able to clearly spell out what steps to take going forward.
At the committee meeting, we will ask them what are they going to do. They'll tell us. We'll ask them the liability arising out of this. Will you be taking them on board? Yes.
All right.
Nobody will be left out. We'll take them on board. As a committee, based on this, we listen. And then we believe that what they have told us, that is what they will implement.
Right.
Now that there are challenges, as a committee, we invite them back.
Okay.
And ask them, why is it that we met you, explain it, we raise concerns of the LPG operators and association. You assure us that at the end of the day, there are these issues coming up. As a committee, that's our responsibility.
Okay. When is
we
the
do
timeline?
oversight responsibility, but we don't do the day-to-day running.
Very well. What time are we looking at? Do you have a timeline for when this meeting should happen?
Yeah, I discussed that with Chairman. Chairman said he will do some 1 or 2 things and then get back and see when to do it. Because from tomorrow onwards to Tuesday, we carrying out our oversight responsibility of other agencies. And every day we meet two agencies.
Okay. Well, perhaps.
So we believe that by Tuesday, when we are exhausted, then they will come up.
In the meantime, there are a lot of Ghanaians who rely on gas in homes, those who use it for driving, etc., whose lives are being frustrated because the group has decided to go on strike. But we look forward to that meeting.
That is why we are calling on government to engage them effectively.
Okay.
Very important to ensure that they continue to run.
So thank you so much.
Important.
Right. Thank you so much.
Against the cylinder recirculation, that the process of implementation is not well done.
Okay. So thank you very much this afternoon for your time. We look forward to that committee meeting and what it brings up. That is, if government has not been able to engage the LPG operators between now and then. Alhaji Mutawakilu Adam speaks for the minority on the Energy Committee in Parliament. In the meantime, the National Petroleum Authority is insisting it will go ahead with the recirculation module. Director of Communications at the NPA, Anil Sabute, has been speaking with us.
Well, first and foremost, there has never been a final report because, the engagement with the stakeholders involved in the process are still ongoing. So I find it a bit strange that they would say, for example, that how they arrive at the cost that will be passed on to consumers that they've not been able to state. And also the point that the negotiations are done and therefore a final document, has been prepared and forwarded to government. None of that of the allegations is true. But I can tell you, for example, that Glipgoa has been part as an association, has been part of the process from day one. They've made their contributions, and along the line, they had a disagreement. One of the major issues that they raised had to do with the fact that the entire policy itself should not even happen. And we feel that is extremely untenable, because in the heart of this particular policy is public safety. And people may have issues. There may be a new model that is being pushed. And rightly so, during the committee process or during the process of the committee and engagement, a lot of divergent views did come up. And we sit down when we agree to disagree, to pick points where it will be workable for everybody, and we reach a compromise. Not even a single member did raise the issue that should be thrown out. However, Glipgoa believes that to be thrown out because first and foremost, it's going to throw them out of job. We addressed that particular concern and we told them that it is never true. We gave them even the model and how it's going to even increase the jobs for their own members. So for now, for them to even come out and say that, a document has been prepared and the document has been sent to government, unfortunately, it's not true. Well, we have also done our checks, and I can speak to you that even within Glipgoa setup itself, it's not every member who has adhered to the call for them to down their tools. There are a lot of the outlets who are still working. In terms of the strike, it does not mean also that we are sitting down aloof and watching for it to happen. Because, like we have said, our concern has to do with the consumer. And everything is being done to ensure that, people get the product they need for either their business or their personal issues. But we'll continue to engage Glencoe. Like we said, that the MPA as an authority runs an open door policy. And as every grain of concern that is put on the table at the committee level is captured in a statement, is debated, and is spoken to by those tasked with their responsibility. We have subcommittees where even after the general committee meets, the subcommittees meet to be able to flesh out all the fine details before a workable proposal that is agreeable or acceptable to all is forwarded to government. But as we speak, no document has gone to government to say this is the final chapter of the process.
Well, you just heard the NPA spokesperson there, Annie Osabote, speaking about what plans they have and whether or not they're going to take the concerns of the association on board. In the meantime, the association has no plans of backing down. The national organizer, Nanaba Collins, says the strike will continue until government rescinds its decision.
What exactly have you put out there?
The price of the product will shoot up. Ghanaians cannot afford to buy the product anymore.
Why?
For the cylinder recirculation, Ghanaians are going to pay for the product and the cylinders as well. So that cannot come. So anytime you are in need of the product and you go to the center, you have to pay the product alongside with the cylinder. So you will be paying for the cylinder. So you come to conclusion whereby no longer interested in using the product again.
So the prices will go up.
The price will go up.
And then what again?
And then what we have observed now is when you fill the product into the cylinders, whenever whenever the temperature goes high, the pressure in the cylinder also goes high. So in case we have a large quantity filled bottles in the truck going for distribution, we are in Africa, a very tropical area. The sun scorch too much. And this is whereby we are going to fill the atuab gas, a high pressure gas, into these cylinders. Ghana will soon going to be like America in Iraq. In war front, there's going to be explosion here and there on this deprived load. So when there is any friction, the cylinders are going to explode.
This is a huge allegation. Are you saying that the authorities haven't considered this
not considered this, man,
to be the right option for the country? Because one of the reasons they give is that it's going to address the frequent, explosions of gas filling stations.
Now, let me tell you point straight. CRM cannot end explosion. It is rather going to increase it more.
And your reason?
Like I said earlier, the first cylinders in the truck going for distribution, and when the temperature goes high, the pressure also in the cylinder rises. So it's going to create explosion here and there.
And how? What is the current procedure you use to distribute yours?
Like what?
Your gas distribution. You don't also carry it around?
We carry it around, but not to the extent of going for long distance. Imagine they have their plant. What they are saying, they're going to set up some plant machines in Ghana, and it's in Kumasi. They have to transport some quantity of cylinders to, let's say, Atebubu. Also, the distance is very long, so it can create a major incident on the way for the distribution. That's why we are saying they should listen to us. They should listen to us.
Apart from these two, what are the other reasons you've decided to go on this path?
Ghanaians will very soon go back to the traditional way of cooking by going in for charcoal. And we are all protecting our forestry. So because they cannot afford the price of the product, the only option for them is to go for the charcoal. And it's going to result in cutting down the trees as well. And it's going to create unemployment. The GCMC factory is going to spend 10 years without not being in operation.
How?
The mandatory for using cylinder, I mean the domestic one, the maximum years is 10 years. So in case they implement this policy, they will need about 60 million cylinders in Ghana, because we are up to 30 million so far in population. Each person will own 2 cylinders, one at your house and the other at your retail center. It will take 10 years before this cylinder will phase out from the system. By then, what is GCMC doing, producing or manufacturing the cylinders for? They have nothing to do, so they have to stop work. Cylinder sellers in our various markets, they are also going to lose their job.
Prince Apia, chairperson of the LPG Operators Association there. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty and